Okay, so I think we have all the all the technologies set up. As always, kind of
Nice.
bear with me as we get things started. So we'll give people a little bit of a chance to get logged on here. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's webinar. I'm excited to talk with Coach Ray. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I'm Dr. Megan Graff with Movement RX. I'm so excited to be here with our rock star coach, Coach Ray. He's done so much with us, not only on our corporate wellness programs, but our adaptive programs, and taking that and helping grow it and turn it into an even more amazing thing than we had already started it off to be, and really working with that. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and why you're excited to talk about this topic today.
Yay, thank you. It's very exciting to be a part of this webinar. And so I'm Coach Ray, one of the fitness trainers for Movement RX. I also own and co-own a CrossFit gym here in Claremont Mesa, San Diego. Been working alongside Movement RX and Teresa and Pear for quite a while now. And yes, I've been in charge or a part of that adaptive program, a lot of their corporate wellness programs, and the fitness aspect of it. This is the part that I love to talk about, and this is kind of something I do every day, so for myself and for my clients. So I'm very excited to talk about how to create and hopefully maintain a fitness routine.
Nice. Yeah,
So.
Especially during this time, it's an important topic anyway, but especially right now when everything's a little crazy and either people got out of a routine or it was a goal for 2020 that just kind of went out the window as the year seemed to go out the window to some degree. So how they can now take charge of the year and kind of take back ownership of some of those goals they may have set, or how they maybe need to change. So let's talk about what even is a habit.
Yeah. So first off, you guys, we need to talk about a habit. So the habit, and everyone should know what this is. It's a tendency or a usual manner of behavior. So your behaviors. I wanted to list a few things that I have. So simple things like brushing your teeth, right? That's a habit. I drinking water. At least half your body weight in ounces. That's a habit that I have. One silly one or one awkward one that I have is I like to pick up my backpack with my right arm all the time and put it over my right shoulder. So that's a habit that I have created. And we'll talk about how I'm breaking that habit and making myself even. But how about you, Meg? What are some habits that you have?
Yeah, so definitely kind of weird little things like that too. When it comes to brushing my teeth, I brush with my left hand, and every now and then just to get used to it. And same thing like cutting my food. I remember when it comes to like you're supposed to switch. And I think for efficiency as a kid, I learned it's way faster if I just keep my knife in my left hand and cut with my left, and I can keep eating with my right rather than like switching to cut.
Switch, yeah.
Yeah. So I always cut my food with my left hand, even though I'm right-handed. But little things like that. And yeah, just little quirks of anytime I find myself when I do like stepping up on a curb or step ups, I tend to always lead with my right leg. And same with you when it comes to not being so one-sided with stuff like that. I try to catch myself and use the other side a little bit more. So yeah, random little things like that I'll catch that I a lot of times don't even register that it's a habit that I do. Those, I mean, aside from things like just, I wake up and I drink my water and whatever.
Yes. Yeah. What is your morning routine? What is your morning habit? Right. So yeah, those are little ones, but we'll bring it toward the fitness side. So habit wise on that, or what is my routine? I have a routine or a habit of working out for about 45 minutes to an hour, 4 to 5 times a day. So that's something that I have. 4 to 5 times a week. I'm sorry.
Like,
Not a
wow,
day.
you're very committed to fitnessing.
Yeah, very committed. Yeah, so that is something that I have created over the past 10 years, though. So that is a routine or a habit that is ingrained in my just lifestyle now. And usually it takes about, so the literature says 66 days or about 2 months to 8 months to start something new, right? Would you agree there, Dr. Meg,
Oh, yeah.
about that long to start something new? So I've been doing this for 10 years and I have a good base now and an idea of what that is and what my lifestyle is going to be like as far as around fitness and movement. So talking about that, if you don't have a fitness routine already, it's not over. It's not too late, right? You can always start something, but you have to be committed. You have to enjoy and embrace the process and commit to whatever that will be for you. So I guess Dr. Meg, we can talk about let's see here, habits for you and what are your fitness habits?
Yeah, so
So
it has to some degree changed, obviously as COVID has happened, but I realized there was a short period at the beginning of things that I'd kind of gotten into a weird funk of like the gyms were closed, so I wasn't doing strengthening as much as I normally like to because I just wasn't enjoying doing kettlebells at home a ton.
mhm.
So I set a new goal for myself. So then I've now gotten into, I'm doing powerlifting 4 or 5 times a week, just kind of depending on how my body feels, and I'll run 3 or 4 days a
Mm.
week because I was kind of doing dual training, but modifying to where that I'm not getting overloaded in my system. And just as a side note, we're talking about habits and building up to a fitness routine or getting back into a fitness routine. Don't be put off by we expect you to be at 45 minutes once a day, 4 to 5 times a week. We're going to talk about starting small and building up to get into a good routine. So don't get overwhelmed by, oh, I need to be working out, for an hour every day. I think we tend to get paralyzed by this thought of, oh, this is what I should be doing, but I'm not doing anything now. That seems like too big of a jump. It's too scary to get there. But that's where we're going to talk about starting small and building some of those small habits. But just having an idea of, setting those goals and where you want to be, of what you want your fitness routine to look like. And even if you're nowhere near that now, it is possible. And we're going to talk about the small steps to help either get you to that new place or back to where you want to be, where you maybe were pre-COVID.
Totally. And that, yes, that is going to take us to the definition and defining what that fitness means to you. And yes, it doesn't have to be, that long. It could be walking your dog, going out for a jog. Movement is what we're trying to push here. So it doesn't have to be like you need to work out for 45 minutes. You need to lift weights. We all have our short-term and long-term goals, right? So a short-term goal for me was, maybe I would wanted to squat 350 pounds, and then COVID hit. So what am I going to do? I go back to my long-term goal, which my long-term goal later on in my life, I want to be able to squat. I want to be able to do push-ups. I want to be able to pull things, carry things, right? So I go back to that, what my definition of fitness is, and I take that back and adapt to the situation. And if I didn't have time in the day to move, to do whatever, 45-minute workout, I will just do those primal movements or any kind of movement for about 10 minutes. So we have some things to give you guys as far as what can you do in your workspace at home and how to create this fitness routine. So we'll start off with 10 movements 10 reps. So 10 movements, 10 reps. Now, what can those movements be? They can be anything. They can be a push-up on your desk, right? So we can do push-ups here on your desk, 10 reps of that. You can do 10 air squats. We can do a stretching movement. It doesn't have to be 10 movements, 10 reps, but let's just start with that. And if that is already too much, we can do 5 movements, 10 reps. So what do you think about that, Meg?
No, I
5
think
and
that's
10.
perfect. So again, a good, starting place. We can list out 10 movements, but, I think everybody is familiar with exercises to some degree, whether it's, maybe used to do Pilates or yoga or whatever it is. Like you said, it doesn't necessarily need to be squats and push-ups. Those are great movements as a human to be able to do and have the strength to do. So those are 2 that I think are great for people to add in. But say you maybe used to do yoga and you know that down dogs feel really good for your body. That can go into your routine. So think back to maybe when you were, in a little bit better habit of fitnessing, if you will, and think of like body weight movements, or if you have some equipment at home, if you have some light weights, 10 reps of something, whether it's overhead press and maybe you don't have weights, but you have a water bottle. I'm going to press this over my head 10 times, and it's equally stretching my shoulders out in a way that I'm not getting if I'm working at the desk all day long. But, I'm getting that little bit of strengthening too. So pick 10 movements, that you've done in the past. So you're like, I want to get my arms back in shape. So let me do this arm movement. Try to brainstorm 10 movements, like for whatever that is for each of you that are listening.
Yes. Yeah. And like she said, it doesn't have to be, those presses. It can be a yoga movement or something that you're used to, and just do that. That way we can start there, and we have to try to do that on a daily basis. That way you can create this routine. Now, if that is just too much thinking for you, we also have another thing you can do. Just move for 10 minutes a day. So move meaning, again, walk your dog, go out for a walk, focus on your breath. You can go out for a jog. What else is there, Meg? We can stretch. I considered moving, stretching, right? So you can do like your yoga stretches, your prayer stretch, your shoulders, hips. Just do that for 10 minutes. And if you do that, every day, you will be able to create this good habit of just moving daily. And you'll soon find yourself, out of that funk, right? Like if you were so used to your daily routine and, with COVID and all these things happening, that is something to kind of jumpstart you again. And then when things are not normal, but when we can get back to our normal that was before, we at least have created this habit of movement, and you aren't just starting over again. So moving for 10 minutes a day, or the 10 reps and 10 movements a day, that would be something that we recommend trying. So just, you have to embrace that process. I know it's a hard time now, but if you can commit to that and really just focus on one thing at a time, because there's a lot of things, like you said, if we are trying to lose weight, if there's so many goals that you have fitness wise, and there's just too many things overwhelming you right now with life, pick this one, just this right here, the fitness routine, the movement routine, 10 reps, 10 movements, or move for 10 minutes a day. You can focus on that, and then we can move forward and try to add on to that later down the road. That way it's not too overwhelming for you guys.
Yeah. So let's break it down and kind of talk about the actionable things that we want people to take away. So one, while you're sitting here listening, you can maybe just write down, so you remember that you can think about this later, but get your pen and paper, and I want you to write down maybe what your fitness goals for 2020 were before life changed earlier in the year, and maybe what you want to change your 2020 fitness goals to. So that's going to be more your short term. What do I think I can accomplish? What do I hope to accomplish with the rest of this year, what I have left and what I really want to work towards short term, given, let's assume that things aren't really going to change for the rest of the year. This, whatever, if you're in California, whatever your gym situation is, or if you're in another state, knowing that the way that life is modified right now, let's just assume that's how things are going to be for the rest of the year. And given that, what can your goals be for 2020? And then think, like Coach Ray was saying, long term, 30 years down the road in your life, what do you hope that you can still do physically? So that doesn't necessarily mean like, doing an Ironman competition, but, if you picture yourself, I'm going to have my grandkids, I still be able to play with them in the backyard. Or, I'm traveling and I want to be able to move my luggage around without somebody needing to help me, whatever that might be. Kind of think long-term what you still want to be doing. So whether maybe sport-wise, like I would imagine Coach Ray still wants to be able to lift weights well into the next 30 to 50 years. Obviously it's
when I'm 80.
Yeah, obviously the weights might change a little bit, but having the goal of like, I still want to be able to do these things physically at this point in my life, kind of think long term, and that can help shape your 2020 goals. And just maybe backing off, I don't have the competition that I maybe wanted to train for, whether it was a 5K or a weightlifting competition, but what things can I still be working on now to help me reach that long-term goal? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah. So those are going to be very important to understand, and it might change, right? Your short-term goal, your long-term goal, it might change. Mine has changed many times, right? So it's okay if there's so many, we're going to pick a few things, right? At least, 3 to 5 things there. And then what that looks like, just circle the ones that you feel like you can handle right now. But yes, so write those down. It's okay if it changes, because now we have to adapt. We have to adapt to everything that's going on. But what we can control right now is our health and our movement, and this habit and behavior. So if you guys need help, Dr. Meg, how else can we help them with this here?
Yeah. So we do have our programs, but I want to talk a little bit about, again, when we talk about those 10 minutes, 10 reps, whichever it is that fits for you, thinking about what's most sustainable for me. So think right now, today is what, Thursday, plan for either later today or thinking about tomorrow and on the weekends. So how your weekdays and weekends look different. It's helpful to plan for this time, whether, okay, I'm going to set the intention that my 10 minutes of movement is going to be in the morning. So that means I have to wake up 10 minutes earlier, or maybe it's 10 minutes at your lunch break. Because if you don't kind of plan for that, before you know it, it's the end of the day and you didn't get your 10 minutes in or your 10 movements in. So right now, also, while you're on this webinar with us, you're going to spend this time kind of quickly mentally planning what this is going to look like for you, because everybody's different. We can say like, oh, do these movements for 10 minutes in the morning. Like, that's not realistic if you have 5 children at home running around, taking up your attention, and it's just not feasible for you to have that time to yourself in the morning, but maybe the evening time works for you. So whatever it is, think about what is the most sustainable time of day for you to put this in. And maybe it's you're sneaking this in throughout the day. So those 10 movements every hour, if you're sitting a lot at your desk, at 8 a.m., I'm going to do my 10 reps of my air squats. At 9 a.m., I'm going to do my desk push-ups, and 10, and so on and so on. So that way you're fitting it in. So think about what's going to fit you best, and set the intention now of, I'm going to give myself this 10 minutes a day. And if it's helpful, I know a lot of people too will literally put it in their Google Calendar. Like, I know I live and die by my calendar. If it's not in there, I'm going to forget it. So sometimes it's helpful, even though it's like a 10-minute thing, putting it in there forces you to have that intention of like, I'm not going to just sit around during this time. I said I'm going to go for a walk in my neighborhood and take 10 minutes to go for a walk. and then come back. And it's on the calendar, so you have that time set aside. Nothing else can eat up your time. So getting into the habit of, one, setting the intention of what you're going to do, and kind of creating that structure for it is going to be huge. So just thinking about that when we're talking about that base level of, let me get back into the habit of moving. So whether it's that 10 minutes or the 10 movements, with that. So from there, when you're like, well, that's great, I'm going to start there, but you've gotten me fired up and I want to do more. So Coach Ray is part of our online programs too. So we have all these different challenges and different strength programs, and Coach Ray leads one of our fitness classes, and we'll be doing that here. That we have all these great resources available on our website to help you get back into that habit. So I think a great place to start if you're starting from scratch is our Wellness at the Desk challenge. It's a 20-day program that talks about, every day has a different theme. So you have like movement Monday, like mobility Tuesday. I'm getting all the days confused, but basically you have movement, mobility, stability, nutrition, and mindset are the 5 themes. And it helps you. The awesome thing is it's like a 3 to 5 minute video that you do once a day, Monday through Friday, and it gets you into that habit of having something to do, and it gives you a little task, whether it's a physical movement for the day or something to think about through your day. But I think that challenge is a great place to start, of just getting into the habit of doing something consistently, and checking that. And it's from there helpful to then move into one of our any of our fitness programs, really, if maybe you struggle with shoulder pain or back pain. We have a ton of different programs that basically it's 4 days a week of working out, 3 that are more strength-based, and 1 that's a down regulation or mobility day. So we have those available, that if you need that guidance in that direction to take this habit forming a step further, that's where we come in and we're available to you guys. Because once you're signed up on our programs, you can, if you want somebody to look at your form while you're doing your exercises, or to do a fitness class with a coach virtually, that's where Coach Ray comes in. So can you talk about the fitness classes that you lead a little bit, what that looks like and what you're looking at?
So we do the workout of that day, and we take you through the down regulation and the mobility pieces. We'll take you through all the strength movements and the high intensity workouts, but we can modify to what you have at home or to what you have at work, if you're doing it at work. So all these movements, right? We will have it live like this, and we can talk to you and make sure you're doing the right technique and the right form. And if there's any questions on there, you guys can ask us directly. So definitely, if you need that guidance, we are here for you. So I believe there will be links in everywhere, and emails, so you guys can click that and check that out. So again, those, to create that habit and that the routine, try to do these every day. Planning, right? Like Dr. Meg said, make sure you're planning for it. Now, what if the plan goes out the window? What happens to that? Because it happens, right? Don't
You would know about that having an infinite home.
Yeah, don't put yourself down. There might be a time in your day. Remember, we're trying to create this habit. So ideally, we're trying to do this every day. Now, if it didn't happen in the morning like you wanted it to, if you have 10 minutes, somewhere in that day, do it then. It's okay if it doesn't happen that day. Let's reset. Let's have a good mindset on the next day, and we're going to continue trying to create this healthy routine. So
yeah, that's such a good point, because I think a lot of times, as soon as we're like 3 days in a row, I've got it, and then you miss one day, and you're like, well, there goes. I'm a failure. I can't keep up with it. Rather than like, well, I mean, that stinks that I wasn't able to make the time today, but I have tomorrow. I'm going to double down and make sure that I do that. So really just being kind and forgiving to yourself, and knowing like, yes, there's as much as we would love for it to be automatic and we hit our goal every day, like there's going to be off days, things come up, but not letting that completely derail you is huge, because I think that's a big part of what keeps people from creating these long-term habits, because like you mentioned earlier, it's 66 days on average to create a habit. Somewhere in that 66 days, things are going to go awry and you're not going to do things as planned. And I think it's very easy for us to be like, well, there goes that. It was never meant to be for me. I'm just going to go back to what I was doing. So just really keeping in mind whether it's helpful to have your goals posted on your computer when you're working or in your mirror to remind you, like, this is what I want to be able to work towards this year, and how this habit can build into that, and how our programs can help you potentially getting back into that routine. So check out our website, movement-rx.com. If you go to the digital rehab tab, you'll see all the different challenges and programs that we have. And if you have any questions about really what all of that means and what the membership includes, and maybe what which of the programs would be best for you, don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can contact us at wellness@movement-rx.com. So we'll take these last few minutes to open it up for any questions. So if either on the YouTubes or on Zoom you have any questions, I'm keeping an eye on the chat box and the Q&A tab, and then let me also pull up YouTube here to see if we have any questions. But any parting words of wisdom, Coach Ray, or anything you want to point them towards as far as resources you like to?
Yeah, so just kind of adding on to the actions to take today. So again, write those movements down, write those short-term and long-term goals, and then I would like to have you guys write down, after about a week of this, how you felt during the week. So it's good to think about that too. Like, you have to think about, like, how are you feeling during doing these movements? So if you just do it and then don't really think about how you're feeling, that may not help you in the long term. So write it down. Did it make you feel good? Did it make you feel bad? Like, is there a movement that you didn't like? Like, write those little things down after maybe 7 days, after a week, write it down. And that's something I would add to the action. But other than that, that movement-rx.com, check those guys out. I love them. And if you guys if you are looking for a little more, I guess, more intense workouts, but with good movement, you can check out our website at crossfit1904.com. You can also email me at ray.gerard@crossfit1904.com.
Yeah, thanks. So, and definitely, if you're local, come check out CrossFit 1904, because they are some of the highest quality coaches, I feel, in San Diego when it comes to fitnessing and caring about movement. That's huge to me as a physical therapist when I'm recommending, somebody's telling me they want to get back into a fitness routine, in an in-person gym. And obviously we work next door. Ray is right there on the other side of the wall. But we are social distancing. But, I think that's important, even if you're not local to San Diego, if you're looking at getting back into the habit of going to a gym, say they're open, whether outdoors or indoors, just going to a place where that the coaches care about how you're moving, your quality of movement, is really important. So that's the number one thing to look for in gyms. And if you're in San Diego, come check these guys out at 1904. But thank you all for joining us today. Like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to us. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week.